not or the end of the group stage for them.
Yeah.
The end of their group stage run. There's still one more though.
Uno más.
Uno más.
Uno más.
And what is it, ladies and gentlemen?
Impact
you guys
versus
tell me?
Gatekeepers.
Spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah.
Incapped versus Incapped versus the Gatekeepers. I should be careful doing that. I could have said something really offensive without realizing it. Not thinking that far ahead.
Oh, carpet.
All right, should be one of the juiciest matches of the day. This is for first place in their group. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah.
What are you predicting?
These are the two teams I predicted to go to LAN out of this region, so the fact that they're already playing is pretty insane. I don't really know what to expect. Of course, Impact came into the BPL as the heavy favorite, but as of late, the Gatekeepers have looked incredibly good. Of course, Gatekeepers, they 5-0'd Impact the first time these two teams met, but Impact won 5-2 last week. So they're going back and forth, and it's very hard for me to call it, but even without—
Hence the tiebreaker.
Hence the tiebreaker. Even if I had to call it without seeing drafts, I'd probably say Impact will likely take this game. But Gatekeepers, they're definitely not out of it.
Anything special we're looking for at a draft?
Impact, I don't know. Maybe they'll play Lucy. I kind of like the Lucy into the combo comp.
EU is a Lucy crazy
I know.
place.
I love watching it too.
All right, there it is.
Lucy.
Jolts on your Blossom. Can't go wrong. The F spamming. This time, and not to pay respects. It's actually to deal a whole lot of damage and win.
Yes.
Jabong for Impact.
I do like the Jumong into it quite a lot as well. Of course, Trap on single iframe characters is very good. She only has one way to get away, so if she gets trapped after that, it's good. And similar to Pestilus, if he drops the rain of arrows on the tree, he'll get quite a lot of energy.
Alicia for their second pick on Gatekeepers, though.
The Ice Lady and the Lucy. We get to see.
Ice Lady and Lucy for the second on Impact.
I really like Lucy into Ice Lady. I think it's very good as the Clarity Potion removes the shield and it removes chill. You almost always get value out of potency, which is a very important Battlerite in Lucy's kit. It's the Battlerite that when you cleanse a debuff off an enemy, you deal 10 damage, and when you cleanse a debuff off an ally, you gain 10 HP. So it's very, very important, and he will almost always be finding value out of it.
Because there's just freeze on everybody, shields on everybody. You'll almost always get something out of it. Good point. Also, why would you ever do it if you weren't going to get the debuff?
Certainly.
Or the buff.
The buff.
The buff.
Yeah, I noticed I said that wrong. I'm glad you're here to do it right.
Oh no, it's okay. It's what we're here for. To tell each other that we suck. Bako for the last choice of Impact, and Rook for Gatekeepers.
Yes, okay, so the Rook going to be ran by Gatekeepers. The Alicia, I'm not sure how she's going to work into this comp. I'm not sure what her role really is. We saw a lot of Alicia yesterday, and we talked a lot about how her Battlerite build has progressed lately. That E Battlerite, granting shields to allies that fall in that AoE, might be very important for the Rook here. If he initiates, goes in on a target like the Lucy, and then that AoE chill is thrown down on top of him and the Lucy, it will force not only a lot of abilities out of the Lucy, but it will also help out the Rook a ton. So I like the synergy that I'm seeing, but I'm not sure how it's going to work against the Jumong Bako. I think the amount of damage they might be able to output and how disruptive they can be with those two characters might just pose too big of a problem.
Essentially when I see Rook Alicia, it's not them working together at the same time, but in steps. So Rook goes in, forces a bunch of stuff to happen, forces a bunch of cooldowns, a lot of mobility, and Alicia, if nothing can speed out of her stuff, she will land it.
Oh, yes.
And if she lands all of it, it is some heavy burst damage. So maybe they're just going to try and work one after each other as opposed to in succession. But Hot Biscuit and Alicia, he seems to go for the elemental theme.
Yeah, it's funny. Hot Biscuit and Chalt, both Ashka mains that switch to Alicia, they really like the ice and the fire. It's pretty neat. But Impact, I'm very excited to see how this goes. Of course, this is a huge match. I don't mean to overhype it and continuously talk about it. This is for first seed in Group A. The winner of this match will move on to be the first seed and will eventually play against the second seed of Group A. They'll play against Dolos, and the loser will have to play against Game On up top. So a very, very important match. Neither team probably wants to face Game On, as they've looked pretty unstoppable. We'll see which of these teams can pull it out.
3, 2,
Last match of the day, last tiebreak. Who will get first place in this group? Opening up with a boulder, armor break, M2. The damage from that M2 because of armor break.
Yeah, that's silly. So much damage out of nowhere just because of the boulder. And it's funny, Rook now has such a ranged presence with that boulder and armor break, negates a lot of the problems he used to have.
Pushes right past that bulwark, trying to bait that out of Bako. He did so successfully, counters up, but won't get hit. Jamong knows better, but still already has an ulti.
Yeah, already has that ultimate. His team didn't even get the first orb, and he dropped the ulti. And Rook, he is not looking too healthy. A big double in cap too. Veg role-playing Rutha, doing so much on this backline, but now he's starting to get eaten alive.
That was actually massive, and you can see the chase down right now. This is the aggression that we see from Jolt. Bot goes to space just to avoid the stun, which means you might see an ultimate here from Hot Biscuit. He goes for the ult instead, and he will secure it.
Rutha, the counter's not procced either, and now they're going to engage hard onto this onto Rutha. The Dance of the Dryads gets thrown out and gets a little bit of damage, but not all that much.
Hot Biscuit and Dizzler trying to 1v1 each other here in the middle of the match. Already another ultimate. Goes for the orb. Great secure, I think. After losing the first two, they really need to try and close the energy gap here.
Oh, that was really close. Good panic from Gaddafi to get Rutha out of the engagement. He now has to wait for another charge, which really slows the roll of the Rook.
Clarity Potion used to break Dizzler from his freeze, which means Rutha wants to try and close this. There's the barrier. Look at how long Dizzler's holding his cooldowns. He finally used his spacebar, but he still has enough energy. And he secures the orb without having to use his ultimate.
Oh boy, oh boy, the ice block comes out to try to negate that damage, but all of the ults dealing quite a lot.
He just goes in.
Oh.
He has enough for an eat. He will do it. He's actually going to keep himself at a decent health. He has 57.
Another F press from Jolt's coming out. But Hot Biscuit, we talked about how Rutha did okay even through all those ultimates. So much committed onto Rutha that not a lot was left for Hot Biscuit, and he just kind of died in the backline.
I'm with you, though.
Oh.
There's the timing that you're looking for.
Swagging on him a little bit.
I'm with you, though. It's really tough to see what Gatekeeper's game plan is. You know, they have an okay mid game, but going up against a Jamong who's just going to rain of arrows you, forces Rutha to go in so he doesn't take free damage from a distance. You don't want to get poked, so Rutha goes in. They know better than to hit that counter. I think maybe Rutha would maybe want to just hold it a little bit longer, specifically against Impact, because they know that that's his next mission.
Right. It's funny, when you hear the North American Battlerite players talk about Rook to Europe, they're like, have you ever played Jumong into Rook? Because North America's like Rook OP, Rook OP. But Dizzler, he's really showing how good Jumong is. He's really manhandling Rutha. Unfortunately, though, for him, this start not so great as the charge lands.
He's trying to hold the counter a lot longer this time. He wants to find value. He still hasn't procced it. I actually really like it. So they have to be a little bit more careful what they throw into him, knowing that he's got it. Will he finally get a hit this time? He's going to M2 on the Baco. Into the trade again.
The rain of arrows carpet.
Oh
Look at the Blossoms HP, and now the ultimate going to come out. It's certainly going to secure the orb. Not going to hit Jolts, though.
Dizzler, untouched. Look at him go. Hot Biscuit really struggling to find damage onto this.
The EXM2 onto Jolts just deals so much, too. A lot of damage coming out from Impact. Gatekeepers can't heal up in time.
Jolt has to grab these shards. He's almost got an ult as well as Hot Biscuit. They haven't been able to find a lot of ult combos in this composition. Rain of arrows and the goo and the traps. What is he to do?
Oh, nice bulwark there. Vague not letting the Rutha on the Rook get in there. The Dance of the Dryads gonna hit twice. It's a decent amount of value, 40 damage and a weaken coming out of that. But still, Gatekeepers are at a massive disadvantage.
Hot Biscuit saving his ultimate for this orb. He wants to get orb as well as a couple others. Oh, but the end cap might slow that down. No, it's gonna get broken. Rain of arrows. Look at the damage.
Beautiful play. Beautiful play.
That was amazing. Pretty much just picked that, just running right in front with the gust. Nearly taking one for the team. Hot Biscuit still has his ultimate. He spent so long not using energy. I want to see him use at least something.
Beautiful clarity in Rutha. He just gets bodied by that goo. I was sitting there waiting. I was like, Gaddafi, will you hit this clarity? Rutha, his counter's not procced. He gets knocked right back into the goo. Sick Lucy play.
Hot Biscuit, I know he's looking for a bigger combo with that ultimate, but I feel like he held the energy a little bit too long. The amount of energy he gained and wasn't able to use, I feel like was pretty game-changing.
Oh,
there's the burst damage.
He's just getting injected time and time again here, too.
Walking around the ice crown, Dizzler's, honestly, some of the best Jumong play I've seen.
Dude, I told you, he's dizzling him. Look at that. He picks up the Alicia kill. Jolt almost brought them back into that round single-handedly with the beautiful gust onto the Dragon Slayer. That took all of the energy of Dizzler, and it dealt like 60 damage. It almost brought them back, but at the end of the day, Impact just had too much of an advantage with that ulti on Gaddafi.
I'm trying to figure out what Hot Biscuit and Rutha need to do together. I mean, maybe it's just do individual plays, force out the mobility, and then one person can just chase down and get maybe 80, 90 health off them.
The problem here is that Rutha and Jolts are trying to come up and aggress. Rutha is charging in, and Jolts and Hot Biscuit are trying to help him out, but Vague is positioning very well with his bulwarks, protecting his backline, and the Jumong and Lucy are just destroying the Rook.
That time he did finally get his counter hit, but I think I got clarity immediately, even after it got hit. The incapacitate.
See, look at this. Vague is just not letting these two connect with Rutha, and Rutha's getting ruined by this backline.
But Vague took a lot of damage in the meantime, actually even more so.
It did.
Look at this, the boar came out, it won't get hit. The Tree of Life, what a nice blind tree. That was actually insane. How did he find that on the other side of the wall?
Jolts, you're so good.
That was actually one of the coolest things for something so subtle. The control right now. Gatekeepers have it. It's on them to lose it. But this could be the turnaround. The double rated arrows and the goo.
Vague actually takes quite a lot of damage, though, and they don't get nearly as much onto Rutha as they did in the round prior. Oh, and just so quickly, Alicia dumps damage onto Vague. This is kind of scary.
He has a full M2. He doesn't find any contact with it.
Oh, that boom bloom.
1, 2. The first one hits Bulwark. Second 2 hit nothing. Rutha will find a kill. They have no more support. There goes their Lucy. I don't know if Dizzler can come out of this one. Again, just barely missing the Ice Crown.
I like this play from Rutha. He could have gone in, continued to train Impact, but he wanted to get back and secure the orb. There's almost no way you lose this round if you're Gatekeepers if you secure the orb, which they do.
Gatekeepers, they only lost 2 in a row before they're able to turn it around. Here's another ultimate, although just canceled out literally immediately from that Bako. Dizzler's not going to be able to take this. Not with the health that he has or energy he has. Gatekeepers, take a round.
Yep, they bring it back. They got their third round. We'll see if they can continue it on moving into the fourth. And that one, it was really due to that point where Vague took a lot of damage trying to 1v2. The 1v2 didn't go nearly as well for him as it did in the rounds prior. And Jolts and Hot Biscuit, they made it worth it for Rutha to engage and take damage from Dizzler and Godolph that time. If they can continue that and continue to chunk down the Bako early on to the point where he can't safely engage, Gatekeepers can take this game.
And you bring up a really good point. Vague really just separating Jolt and Hot Biscuit from their Rook, using the Bulwark and his R at really good times, putting out the damage. There's no more tree now, but there's the Boom Bloom. That won't find that he's done either. Vague, again, just keeping the backline away.
Yeah, that war shot was perfectly timed too, but he ends up taking a lot of damage from the Ice Crown. Rook doing no better. He rotates back, but Vague, he's taking quite a lot, Carpet.
Again, I think just a little bit mistiming on his Bulwark mixed with his war shout. He did find a lot of value in that shield, but you need that Bulwark just to at least buy you time, even if they put nothing into it. That means you're at least not taking damage for a period of time.
Oh, unfortunate. The double rain of arrows is committed by Dizzler, but there's no trap available. And now the ultimate coming out from Alicia. Big freeze into doubling cap, but look at Vague. The positioning with the Bulwark going to negate that Dance of the Dryads, and what could have been a game-winning ultimate is negated by Vague.
And they might actually turn this around. Right now we see, oh no, but Lucy's getting chased down. She has to try and haste away. She does actually dodge some damage here. There's the stun. The Gust has come out, and now everyone's separated.
They get the orb, Carpet.
That's going to be massive.
So big for Godolph on this Lucy, and I can't believe he survived through that. Not only did he survive it, but he now has ulti.
He only used the roll. Other than that, he tried to keep everything else. Vague's trying to put pressure on the Rook, even with less health. Ruth has gone in, and there it is. They know he has almost nothing.
Oh my God! Dizzler! It gets reflected, actually, so the Dragon Slayer hits him, and he might go down here to Hot Biscuit. Alicia trying to engage onto him and find the kill, and Godolph is separated from him. They might actually lose this. Impact is getting so low. Vague desperately needs to reconnect with Godolph, and even if he does, they're down 20% HP.
There's a chance they can do this if they can build up the ultimates. Who gets this orb? Oh no, they don't have the control anymore. Oh no!
Feels bad.
He was hoping to catch Jolt with that hitbox, but he might actually still be able to secure the orb. No, he had put the Bulwark up. He wasn't able to. That's going to be the end of him. No. Barrier keeps him alive. God, Barrier is so big, I always forget.
Barrier, many healths.
Hot Biscuit has an ultimate, though. He's just waiting for the mobility. They're getting pushed back. There's really not a lot they can do here.
Yeah, this is not the ideal situation for Impact. Looking like Gatekeepers have this one in the bag as Godolph having a hard time even staying out of sudden death. Is likely going to go down here, as is Vague. The freeze can apply that chill. Godolph's still alive, though.
Blue team secure the orb, and they got the ult up on Bako, but he stays alive somehow. The panic's going to keep him spaced apart just long enough for Vague to heal up. God, it didn't get it, and he didn't get the in cap either from Bako. Oh my god, how is he still alive? What on earth is happening right now? Got the in cap, but he died. The projectile had already come out.
Gaddafi running on to the sudden death. You know, that's fine. You got to go out your way sometimes.
Yeah, he also knew that they already made that last way longer than they thought they needed or could have lasted. I think your brain just kind of gets melted after trying that hard for that long. Gatekeepers tie it back up, though, 2 rounds to 2.
Yeah, it's not often that you say something like this, but Jolt's gusts are really bringing these rounds back to Gatekeeper's side. He had that great gust onto Dizzler's Dragon Slayer after Rutha died to it, and it did so much damage to Dizzler, and he had no energy left. He couldn't escape the Alicia pressure. Really heads-up play for Jolts.
Tied back up. Baco not finding any value in that space. He's actually used a lot of cooldowns.
This is bad. Look up top.
Oh my god, what on earth happened? Oof. That is really not good at all. Dizzler's not taking a lot of damage. And they're going to hit the panic into the counter from Rutha. Great timing on that. I mean, right now, Gatekeepers have everything in control. Baco just going to go for Orb, but leave his team all alone. How long are they going to last?
Oh, that in cap hits right after
Not
the roll.
very.
Oof.
Oh.
That round just fell apart so quickly for Impact, and that's what happens if Rook gets to do what he wants. Rook didn't get pressured by the Jumong that time, and he landed onto the Lucy early. Just got so much damage, so much energy so quickly, and if you're a Lucy, that's not where you want to find yourself.
Vague. The Death Vortex isn't here yet. You can't kill yourself out there.
I don't have a vague idea how he planned on getting out of that one.
All right, you already did that one.
I'm doing it again. I like it.
No.
I like it.
that was actually adorable. Gatekeepers now 3 rounds in a row.
3 in a row, yeah. And it's funny, you talked about it earlier, kind of like what happens in Battlerite with the pacing. Eventually, one team kind of figures out the other, and this is where I'm starting to wonder, did Gatekeepers figure out Impact? Is Impact going to just get run over from this point, or is the backline of Dizzler and Gaddafi going to be able to adjust and not let Rutha get what he wants done?
It also appears that Rutha's been performing significantly better on Rook this time. This time, though, wasn't able to put pressure on Gaddafi in the backline. Gets the in-cap onto Jumong, so a lot of less damage is going to happen here. All right, getting pushed back again into their spawn. Gaddafi in a really, really tough spot. The Petrified, though, to buy himself some time. He's going to heal back up. He mounts, actually.
I like that play. Very smart.
Yeah. He's going to take a little bit of damage from the Blizzard. Has to cancel the ultimate, not knowing the Bulwark was up. Big has an ult. This is actually really big for them. There's the spacebar. He's just waiting for her to reveal herself. He's going to find Jolty. Will he be able to kill him? No, the Force Sanctuary comes down and keeps him alive. Baco nearly dies for it. In the meantime, Lucy dealing with Rutha.
Warshout keeps him alive, but they're so low when that shield wears off, and it does. He has to even space the boulder. He's getting so low, and now Gaddafi getting manhandled by this Rook. This is rough. Jolt's ulting the orb. All right. I guess that's the quickest way to take it. And this round looks all but over as Lucy gets hit by Hot Biscuit's ulti. Things are falling apart for Impact, Carpet.
They really are. Gatekeepers have figured it out. I don't really know what it is. Maybe they're just all performing individually a little bit better. Rutha's making a much bigger splash than he was earlier.
It's Rutha. He's landing so much pressure on Gaddafi getting that first charge onto him. And if Gaddafi can't farm up the roll and can't get away from the Rook's initial charge, he's just going to get ruined. He's going to get in-capped. He's going to get boulder comboed, and he's not going to be able to do anything about it. Inherently, Rutha has the answers to Lucy's abilities on the Rook. Because of the M2, the iframe for the clarity or the panic flask, the counter, the answer to the panic flask. If there's no barrier, Rutha just can do whatever he wants.
Gatekeepers 1 round away from putting themselves top seed in their group. Ending the tiebreaker once and for all. Vague not finding any value in the spacebar. He keeps using it to retreat, but he found the barrier, or sorry, the bravery onto his support at least. Dizzler can't do this 2v1.
Yeah, Dizzler took so much damage in that engage, and now Impact, they are actually pulling a little ahead here, but I'm not sure for how much longer. They get the orb. Great play from Vague. Really helps out his Jumong.
Dizzler has an ult. There it is.
Down bottom.
Is he actually going to take her out? He might actually take her out right now. Oh, he didn't get it with the M2. She just barely got out of range.
Wow, Vague popping off of that ultimate, getting so much damage, and now this is definitely doable for Impact and even favorable as Jolt is so incredibly low. He has to position very safe, and Rutha is not doing much better. They get a stun and some damage onto the Baco, but I'm not sure it's enough.
For natural order, Jolts with the ultimate. Oh, just getting the prowl out of that. Hot Biscuit has nothing left. Stunning him in the middle of that, now crippling Goob. Rutha just barely gets out alive, but they've used so much cooldowns. Will Impact punish here? No, they want to reset as well. Oh, Dizzler almost just got bursted to death.
Yeah, beautiful Panic Flask though. Gets off, getting the Rook off of his ally.
Incapacitated, here's the combos, the stun. He's out of there, but not after taking so much damage. The Bulwark for safety. Has to space again just to get out of the boulder.
Next orb spawning in about 4 seconds. This is pretty important. Dizzler needs it not only for his HP, but for energy. They're not going to get it, though. And Rook, that ultimate, that Tremor, is going to hit Veg. That first tick dealing quite a decent amount of damage.
He would have wanted to get a little bit more out of that, but they do secure the orb, so that will help him.
Even in the smallest ways, this is favoring Gatekeepers. If they have all of the healing charges onto Jolts, and now the ultimate comes out, but Ruth, I'm not sure he's going to be able to survive in the goo. The Clarity Potion, I think it actually knocks him out.
And they secure an orb. It keeps them alive just a little bit longer. Hot Biscuit's got an ultimate. Dizzler and Vague both dangerously low. But every single player on Gatekeepers just as low.
Yeah, this is pretty scary here. Hot Biscuit, if he finds value out of this ultimate, I think Gatekeepers will be able to pull this round. He has to space back, though, and play defensively as Vague. He's trying to separate the two groups on the side of Gatekeepers. The ultimate, though, it hits the Lucy. But the Dizzler dropping that Dragon Slayer. Oh, God.
I think Jolt's got one ult into himself from the Bulwark, then the Dragon Slayer. Will he kill one? He will, but he's not going to be able to kill another. Impact.
Dude, I thought for sure that Freeze was going to set up a round win for Gatekeepers, but Dizzler, he answers it with that Dragon Slayer and finds a kill. Jolts, that's definitely not how he wanted to go out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he ulted and the first one smacked himself and then he got Dragon Slayered.
Feels bad.
Yeah, that's not great.
That's like 80 damage. That's a lot of damage so quick.
In his case, that was death.
Impact, though, they're not out of it just yet. And really good play from them. I didn't expect them to make it that far into that round after we saw Dizzler get chunked down so hard early on. If they manage to slow the pace of the game like they did in that last round, I think they could take this.
Dizzler again taking so much damage early on. He tries to space around the wall.
Yeah.
He gets Bravery, though. The space bar literally from Bako just for the defense. It ends up working in his favor. The freeze didn't find as much damage.
Oh, no. That is... Oh, God. A disconnect from Dizzler, and I don't think that could have been at a worse time. He ended up taking like 40 damage because of that disconnect. That's a feels bad right there, Carpet.
Oh, God. That's more than a feels bad. That's a feels god-awful.
Are you trying to... Is it your turn to pun now?
No, that wasn't even a pun. I know it was a god of pun, but that wasn't.
No, I feel you, though. God, yeah, that really sucks.
Dang it!
Hopefully he comes back. Of course, this is the biggest round. This has been the biggest series of rounds for Impact in this qualifier, or in the BPL so far. They need to win this. They can't lose, or else they'll be second seed moving into the playoffs. That would be tragic if they lost because of that.
It'll be very dangerous for them moving forward. I don't know, man. I mean, Rutha really stepping up.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one of the biggest things. Rutha, absolutely. In the beginning, he'd really just landed space, maybe get an M2, and his counter didn't get hit for like the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
But now, he's going in. Bako is using his spacebar more defensively, and I don't really know how I feel about that. He's now too scared to leave his backline alone because of the punishment that Rook did put on for 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So now Bako is using, because he built the Bravery Battlerite, which essentially helps reduce the damage of anyone, and it's actually bigger than his space. It's slightly larger than the actual space that he has, and it helps negate damage for like 5 seconds, or I don't know, some sort of time. They've got a buff on them.
I noticed... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, he was still usually just putting pressure on that backline so he could just separate the two, but now he's almost so scared of what Rook can do that he keeps now spacing onto Rook, while Rook holds his M2, so then he's getting the M2 on a Bako.
Right. And
then he's still continuing to put pressure because by then he's built up energy for an eat.
Right. I noticed it was mostly going with the flow of the match early on. I actually really liked the way Vig was playing, helping out his Lucy. But when Lucy had that energy for the roll and the barrier available, he was playing much more aggressively, which is why we saw him find the big ultimate on Jolts in the round prior. So really understanding the flow of the match, really nicely done by Vig that time. We see the ultimate come out here from Rutha as he goes down. But yeah, the beginning of that last round was actually kind of unfortunate for Dizzler too. I think he made a bit of a mistake. We saw him walk right next to this wall on the right side of Mount Araz Knight, and he got caught there against a Rook without any charges for his second Black Arrow cast. and he just kind of took 30% of his HP for no reason.
And I'm trying to think of what tactics you can employ to make sure that your Lucy is safe from Rook, at least for a slightly longer period of time. Because right now they feel like they can't leave Lucy alone because 2 rounds in a row, she took 70% damage on that first engage. Or 70% of her health, I should say, wasn't that first engage. So is it maybe you just try and play the mid game? So even if you get, let's say you get poked, let's say I'm Dizzler, I get poked a couple times, it's cool. Let Lucy heal me. She's building up closer to that 25%.
Yes.
And then you engage.
100%. You're spot on. And that's what we saw the round prior. Even though Dizzler, he took like 50% of his max HP right at the beginning, like you pointed out. But it still worked out for them at the end. They still won that round because Lucy was able to farm that energy and she didn't take too much pressure. And it also helped that Veg was playing back with him when the Ruther was playing aggressively.
Yeah.
So it's really just nice understanding of the flow of the match.
And they've got a good poke game, which I think is also why Ruther goes in right away.
Yeah.
Because you look at Bako, who can just fling M2s to his heart's content.
Throw axes.
You've got Lucy, who's just going to heal them. Also some good toxics, maybe even a long-distance panic, which you probably was going to say for Rook anyways. And then you've got Jamong, who's amazing at mid to long-range game. So that's probably why, you know, Ruther wants to go in immediately. But if they can just make that that opening last like 10 seconds longer.
Yeah.
Just get hit a couple more times, let Lucy heal, maybe, you know, just get like maybe 1 or 2 toxics out there, and then she'll have the energy to where her team can leave her, and she can then deal with her own stuff for 15, 20 seconds. She has barrier, she has a roll, and then she'll need them back again.
And I think that's where we saw Ruther adjust. I think that's where his adjustments came into play, is in the rounds early on when they were losing, that's what he was doing. He was kind of just throwing boulders and waiting to engage, and then inevitably Lucy gained up enough energy to have the roll. And then later on in the game he started charging in early, going straight for the Lucy, trying to get that damage, and when he did, it was really impactful.
So just so you guys are aware, we are waiting to get confirmation and to see if we can have the reconnect. There was a player disconnect at a very terrible, terrible time.
Feels bad.
So either he's not going to be able to reconnect, or it was voluntary, or we'll be able to get back into it. Let's hope none of those things.
I hope it wasn't voluntary.
I hope it wasn't either, but it is still always fun to see just a little bit of juicy drama.
You just want that spicy drama.
Sometimes it's fun. Like, I've never actually had a player rage quit in a game that I've been in broadcasting over, and it's just like a small dream of mine.
That's one of the checklists on your bucket list, or the check marks.
It would, you know, it's just like to know, like, man, that guy's really mad. You know, like just that feeling of like, I love this game, and you're passionate about it. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
To the point where you rage quit.
Yeah.
Gatekeepers though, gatekeepers are. I love seeing Jolts on Blossom. He's one of the only players we see play Blossom as consistently as we see Jolts play Blossom. Does that sentence make sense?
I think so.
I think so too.
I don't know.
Spam F. He spams F to the point where he hits Bulwark all the time.
Yeah.
I think he hit Bulwark 3 times, like in 2 matches.
He's like throwing it out there, pulling ahead a little bit, so he's like, I'll take this risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vague punished him. It's not the ideal outcome, but it is nonetheless the Jolt way.
Let's just say this doesn't end right now, we have that one more round.
Okay.
What needs to change?
What needs a change? They need to buy some space for the Lucy like we talked about, kind of try to play as patiently as they possibly can. Okay, look like we're going back into it.
They're going to play 2v3.
Dizzler going to go down. Godolph going to go down. Unsure of what we have going on here.
Yeah, me too. I don't know what's happening here.
Vague, though. He's running.
The person disconnected just not coming back. All right, that's going to be the end of it then.
All right, so it's looking like, regardless of the outcome, or regardless of this being what happened, still Dizzler was in a very, very unfavorable situation.
Yes.
So it looked like Gatekeepers were going to end up taking that round anyway. But so Gatekeepers, they're going to be seed 1.
Congrats! Gatekeepers have done
Hooray.
it. And they were able to take down their opponents who put up a really good fight. It looked like it was, again, I love the back and forth that we see. And that's when you can see the adaptation of these teams, being able to figure out what is my opponent doing? How do I find value in even that extra 10 energy or even that extra 30 health that I could have gotten? Those tiny, tiny changes result in one ult happening before another, or result in that extra combination happening or combo happening 2 seconds before a mobility cooldown comes off.
Right, yeah.
It's huge and subtle, but that's when you can just see these huge wipes in favor of one team after another, round after round.
Yeah, the smallest things in this game at the highest level can make the biggest differences, and that game definitely a reflection of it.
Impact really, the fact they had those first 2 rounds, I thought that was it. I thought Ruther was really going to struggle.
Yeah, I did too, but like we mentioned, great adjustment from him, understanding that he just needed to go on the Lucy. And I'm kind of surprised to see teams continuously pick Lucy into the Rook. I thought maybe we would see like an older or something similar to that. But,
Yeah.
Because Lucy, she obviously struggles against Rook simply because of his kit and because of the way Lucy functions as a character, with having that energy ability being the one that is your mobility spell.
Yeah.
So it can be really rough for her.
I mean, that's North America versus Europe, right? North America older, Europe Lucy. Like, that's what we see. That is the staples of the sports. At least that's from my experience. For the BPL, we see a lot more older in North America and a lot more Lucy in Europe. So I'm curious to know, is it just because Lucy has more room to breathe in Europe? And, you know, even so, though, older is punishable.
Yeah, he's punishable,
He just does
but
so much damage.
he also pressures. Yeah, and North America is all about that pressure, so the older can step up, just throw out M1s time and time again, and throw out some quicksands to combo off. So that really exemplifies the 2 differences between the regions, like you mentioned. Lucy, much more patient, much slower pace game. Older, very aggressive.
And that is going to wrap up Europe's group play. Let's see where everyone stands now that our tiebreakers are over with and the double round robin has been complete. Game on top in Group A. Dolos winning the tiebreaker against E United. You'll see tied in points, but 9+. That's your indicator of who won the tiebreaker. And on the bottom side, Gatekeepers eking out on top of Impact. I'm curious to know what happened on that DC. Really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, poor Dizzler.
But it does happen.
He dizzled himself.
He dizzled himself. We them boys, and Pulse Drunk really, really struggling to find their lot here.
Yeah.
They were going to have to now play in the promotion relegation tournament, as well as the last place team in Group A. I don't like saying last place. It's only 4.
Yeah.
You're 4th place.
Say 4th seed.
4th seed does sound a little bit less.
It's like calling a one trick a specialist.
Yeah, that's true. You're 4th seed. You are the 4th best in your group. So they're going to have to play in the promotion relegation tournament. And remember, if you do join in the extra tournament, the tournaments that are going on, Rising Star.
Yeah.
Yep, got it. I was looking for it in my brain.
Yeah, you're looking for the
I
stars.
visualize things in my head sometimes. Rising Star. There it is. Maybe you